Give everybody a hand that has offered you their talents today. And oh my gosh, what a blessing. And it's just loved it. This is the place to be on Sunday morning and any day of the week that you can get in, right? It's just absolutely amazing. I just feel so blessed by all of you. So the little boy finds the family Bible and he starts scrolling through it. And he looks and pops out an old leaf. And so he yells to his mom in the other room. He said, Mommy, I found something in the Bible. I found something in the Bible. And she said, well, son, what is it? He said, I'm not really sure. I think it might be Adam's underwear. You see, he was responding on what he had heard. He was responding by what he thought he knew. And he was responding according to his experiences. And often, that is what we do, isn't it? We are responding by our past experiences, what we learned in the past, what we were told in the past. We're responding to that versus what is the possibility now. What is best. Is what I want to share with you today. It's the learning of the what is best has a reference point as far as something that happened before or something that we heard before. But the truth of the matter is something that is yet to be experienced. Alvin Toffler said that the illiterate of the 21st century is not people that cannot read and write. It's people that have lost the ability to learn, unlearn, and relearn, right? It's as people, we want to learn, unlearn, and relearn so that we have an entirely different window of what our experience could be. That is the teaching of unity every week, is it not? That is the teaching of new thought all the time, is often subtract out. As Meister Eckhart would say, that spirituality isn't always addition, a new product, a new thing, a new that, a new class, a new credential, though they are very vibrant if you choose to be part of that. But the biggest part is what are you willing to let go of to make room for all of those things. As Reverend Christie said, it's not either or, it's simply and. I love the story of the man looking at the older guy fishing there on the bank, and he keeps observing him. Every time he catches a big fish, he puts it down and he holds it. Looks like a ruler. He holds it to this ruler and he looks at it, and then he throws it back in the water. And time again, he kept doing this. And he's like, what in the world? You know, isn't the goal to have big fish? I'm confused, you know. So he starts working in his mind, and so he says to the guy on the bank, I know it's not my business, but I see you keep catching these large fish and you keep putting it down. I think it's a ruler, and then you throw it back in. And the man turns and says, yeah. He said, I do that. He said, because that's the size of my pan. That we're talking today about the size of our capacity to expand ourselves in the best of times if we hold that in our hearts, you see. That's what we are carrying. And I know that many of you, based on the comments that have come to me, and I know I did as well, I felt like we were going through a season of learning about a new virus, and we would be looking at it for a month, and then it would just be over. We had it all figured out. As we like to do in our humanity, we like to figure it out, and we like to go with what we've known, and we'd like to say, this would be over really, really soon. And here we are, that we continue in 2020, and we're exploring and we're expanding. And I want to tell you a cute little story, because to me it really helps me. Storytelling keeps your vision on track, okay? So a woman's watching the news and she hears that there's a madman, okay, going the opposite way on the interstate. And it's making all the channels breaking news. And so she picks up the cell phone and she calls her husband. She says, honey, I want you to know when you get on that interstate, I want you to be aware that there's somebody going the opposite way. And be aware and be safe. And he says, honey, thank you, but there's not just one. There's hundreds of them coming at me. And the reason I say this is that I really want you to take this to prayer. Because right now, you have 100 opinions coming at you. You have 100 different ideas. You have things that you read in this magazine. And now the new thing is they debate which one is most accurate or that we can depend on. And so what that means is that we've all started going outside again, outside of our own inner knowing. It means that we're starting to question. It means that we are losing the trust. It means that we have moved we're using wisdom, but we have moved somewhat away from first cause because we're starting to be facts gatherers versus knowing beings. Do you understand the difference? And because I can tell you safely through history that has been true since the beginning of time. Since the beginning of time, people have been inundated with opinions, even if they lived in a little tribe. Somebody would say it's going to rain and storm and we're going to die, and other people would say, no, it's going to rain and maybe it means we're to move our cave. Since the beginning of time, people have had their thoughts and their ideas. What really, really, really grounds a spiritual being is to be immersed in the belief system of what is true and possible for you. Are you with me? And so it's great if you want to look to all these things and these ideas and who's really saying it and who really means well, but at the end of the day, you still get into, it is done unto you as you believe. I am still coming from first cause. There is one presence and one power in the universe. It's not COVID, it's not alcohol, it's not children acting up. There is one presence and one power in the universe, and that is the presence and power of God, our Creator. Yes? And so we remind ourselves of that. And in Scripture, in 3 John 2 through 5, it says that, Beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in health, even as thy soul prospers. You know what that says to me? That it really is, it's about my soul. Because I've said this before, when you get into your personality, myself included, you can sit down and make yourself a mess. You know what I mean? You can just be all dramatizing and featuretizing and chocolatizing and all of that stuff, you see. But when you go to a place of the quiet, if you go to the place of the awareness of nature, if you go to the place of that inner dwelling place, and you go in that space and you live in that place comfortably, you will be very, very clear. You'll be very clear, right? That as a soul, all is well. And in that, you dwell in that divine wisdom. We don't say the great evocation every week because it sounds good and we don't have anything else to fill in that spot. We really mean we live in that, you see. And I acknowledge thy presence and that power. My soul acknowledges that it is all there for the taking. And in that, the divine wisdom comes in and tells me what I need to do. I need to do. Not that I'm going to do it like someone else did it. Think of David and Goliath, would you? Go there for a minute. Think of David and Goliath. What did David, when he realized he was taking on this huge giant, what did he start doing at first? Well, he started doing what everybody was telling him he ought to do. Right? Everybody was telling him, no, well, if you're going to go after, that big giant, then you need to wear armor, and this is what you're going to need, because otherwise you're not going to be able to do it. Right? And as he started becoming like somebody else and doing what somebody else said, although it might have worked for them, what started happening? It was weakening him, was it not? And so what does he go back to? Does anybody remember that? What does he go back to? He goes back to what he knows. He goes back to what he's good at. He goes back to what he believes in. He goes back to what lights him up. He goes back to knowing the truth that he was chosen to take on the giant. And from that, he goes back to his essence. And he became so big, I would have loved to have seen his chakra because it would have hit you in the face in the crowd. Because he said, what am I doing? I see this all the time with leaders. They're wanting to be like Beckwith or this one or that one, or they want to sing like this one or that one, or they want to raise their children like this one or that one. It's your job to do it using what you know. And that is what affects, influences, and is about transformation to this planet. Yes, that's the part that we know and live. And you can be easily influenced. We were flying to New York, and we were so excited. And Barbara's sister, her daughter, had gotten a new apartment there on the west side, and so we were so excited, and we were going to see it, and we were like, oh, family, and we're in New York, and oh my gosh, and it's so fun, and we were just kind of floating a little bit, and so then we're in the lobby with her sister Celeste, and we're waiting around, and when's she going to get home? Well, she'll be home in a few minutes. But, oh, look, there's the dog walker with her dog. And we looked out there, and there's a Maltipoo, and it's like, that's Lexi? And Celeste said, yeah, that's the dog walker walking, the dog before she gets home. And so we're going, oh, my gosh, well, we want to go see her. We want to go see her. So we go running out of the lobby. We run up to the dog walker. We're saying, Lexi, kissy, kissy, how are you? How you doing? This is long before social distancing. And we're like, Lexi, kissy, 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 puppy, puppy. And the guy's not really interacting with us at all. And all of a sudden, Barbara's sister says, that's not really Lexi. I played a trick on you. Can you imagine that guy and the dog belonging to him, right? But my point, you see, you can be easily influenced. You can be easily influenced. In 1992, I was to go before the board of Religious Science International. I had been waiting since I was 5 years old for all this to make sense. And here I am. I'm going before a panel that's going to give a stamp, move forward, or stay home. And it was very interesting with the rest of my classmates because they were already talking about how many books they were going to read, what they needed to study, what they needed to catch up on. And they were so in their fear. They were so in that, and what are we going to do? And they would come out the door and they would say, gosh, you won't believe it, Temple. They asked me like 70 questions. And they asked me all this stuff about, the Holy Spirit in religious science. And I was so confused and I was so nervous and I was just blah, blah, blah. Well, I didn't want to say to any of them what my experience was. Because I walk in the door, I tell the panel hi, I thank them for doing their work, and I start talking about what I was already doing. And I started telling them about how our community, I was pioneering it, and how we had already doubled in size and how it was going, and people were excited, and we were filling our dreams, and blah, blah, blah. And she asked me one question, is that a problem for your boyfriend? And I said, not for me. And they all cracked up and said, keep doing what you're doing. I say that not to impress you, but to impress upon you. Show us your life. Not your words, that's nice. Not how you can answer a question. Not if you know in a leaf it's Adam's underwear or what it might be. Let us see your life. What's happening? What are you expressing? Are you expressing abundance coming through you, as the Flanois have said? Or are you expressing these limitations, these perceived, something's against me, something's not going to give me the stamp of approval? Are you immersed in the spirit of knowing the presence and power of God? Yes? It's about being in action. It's like Alice in the Looking Glass, as the queen's observing her and what she's already shaping into being. And the queen says, when I was your age, I had already thought of 6 impossible things before breakfast. And she goes, oh, I don't know that I can do that. I mean, the fact that a man, a human person, wanted to show everybody what spiritual law was really about, which to me is what we're doing every week. Okay? We're not following human law. It's all nice, and we honor it, but we're living off a spiritual law. And that man would rise out of a cave, wouldn't he? And there would be a movement that was created that has been one of the most noted movements in the world. Yes? And when you think about something else impossible, you think about a tin can that people got in and it took them to the moon. Or you think about a tunnel that goes from one country, one city to another. It doesn't leak and people travel in it. Want to talk about impossible? And you think that same energy cannot heal something with you? You think that same energy can't heal this virus? You think that same energy can't do a correct? In the now of what is what is, and we all align with that instead of talking about and running around on the gerbil wheel of who's telling me the truth, who do I watch, what do I tune into, and oh, tell me what I'm supposed to do or where I'm supposed to go or how I'm supposed to travel. You think if we took all that energy on the collective and we put it into one energy and laser focused and said, we've received our lessons. We have received our lessons. We have made viable changes, and we are complete. Let's move on. And if you're feeling incomplete and in that space, then please do what needs to be done this week so we can be complete. But let's hold the space in that direction, because that's where the truth is. That's where your soul is. That's where the alignment is. And anything else is just frou-frou and fluff-fluff and a moo-moo dress. Right? I know. I want to go to another level, and I want to talk about how wearing masks aren't hard. Wearing girdles are, but I'll just keep it. Something's wanting to channel through me. It might be Reverend Wanda. You know, you gotta watch her. But I'll leave it with you today. A man was angry because he didn't like his job. A man was angry because there wasn't happiness in his family. A man was angry because he saw very clearly, he saw how this COVID was destroying so many things. He was so angry, he was so mad, so angry about his world feeling off. And he goes outside and he screams at God. What is wrong with you? God, what is wrong with you? I've been asking you for guidance. I've been asking you for help. I've been telling you we need this. I need this. This ought to happen. I've been saying, why don't you take care of this? And you're doing nothing. And the sky parts. And God said, yes, I did. I sent you. I sent you. Thank you.